Hey guys, Deathletter Magic here, and oh boy, it's September 2nd. That means it's Midnight Hunt spoiler time. So pull up a chair, grab your popcorn, tell your dog I love them, and let's jump into it with some cards that apparently came out yesterday for some reason. So we've got the Day and Night Indicator. I guess you could call it a token, but it's not a true token. By the way, am I just remembering this wrong? But like, night is 19 out of 19, and then day is 19 out of 19. I didn't think they did that for, I assume double-sided tokens. Plus, there's 19 tokens in this set? I wonder if it includes Commander or something. I don't know, that just seems like a lot. Well, anyway, Night says, as it becomes night, transform all day-bound permanents. Permanents enter the battlefield night-bound, and then if a player casts at least 2 spells during their own turn, it becomes day next turn. So this is kind of like Plane Chase, which was quite fun. It's probably my favorite format in the entire game. That one, you would like pay mana to roll the dice, and it would increase every time. And then if you came up with the Plane Chase symbol, you would go to a different plane with a different effect, and all your permanents or spells or something might change. You never know what's going to happen. So I kind of like this. Now, I haven't looked at any of the cards that are day-bound or night-bound, though. So, I mean, it might be, the worst thing ever. Who knows? But on its face, it looks pretty fun. Oh, we're going to be flipping day-night quite a bit because 2 spells is pretty easy to pull off. So the day side says, for some reason, it's top and bottom. On the top, it says, if it becomes day or night, or if a day-bound permanent enters the battlefield, track day-night for the rest of the game. So that's just rule text about when to put it out. I guess they just stuck it on there as an afterthought so people had some context of what the heck's going on. And then on the bottom it says, as it becomes day, transform all nightbound permanents. If a player casts no spells during their own turn, it becomes night next turn. This thing is going to flip over pretty darn often. I would almost anticipate that this will flip over too often to even reasonably track, and it's just going to feel like random chance that's completely out of your control. And the second that you think you got something going and you get a boost for all your nightbound permanents or whatever, then your opponent's just going to change it. But no sense dwelling on theory when we could just actually look at the cards. So first up, we've got Sereth the Viper's Fang. And the first thing I think, without even reading the bottom, is they better not have printed another fin, and they better not have done Infect again. What has Wizards done to me? I have trust issues when it comes to card design, and they're very well founded. So anyway, it's a 4-cost double green, 3/4 legendary creature, human warlock, and other tapped creatures you control have death touch. So in other words, attacking, otherwise what's the point? They can't block. But I guess if you attacked and then somebody tried to force fight you, I guess on their turn they would still be tapped and have death touch. Now if they're untapped, not including this one, they have hexproof. I like the whole, okay, I can't target you until you're bold enough to swing at me and then you lose it. That's how I kill that stupid blue dragon from the new D&D set all the time. It's like, oh, it has ward 4 as long as it's untapped. The second they swing at me, boom, instant speed kill, you're done. So I do kind of like that. I kind of hate hexproof across the board because it's kind of OP, but if they're not doing anything, the problem is if it's not an attacking creature, it's something with a triggered ability or activated ability, this is ridiculous. But thank God it's not like a 1-cost spell. I mean, it's a 4-cost. And it's legendary, so you can't, bring out more than one. So I don't think this will be too bad. It's kind of borderline. Then if you pay 1 and tap her, untap another target creature or land you control. Now see, that can be pretty abusable, but I don't think it's a big threat to Modern or Commander because there are way cheaper cards that do this. In fact, I have ones in my deck called Tap Dance, which is a tap, untap, tap, untap, tap, untap deck. But I mean, it's still 1 though. I mean, geez, if somebody has a tap ability on a creature, boy, you can do some damage. So I think these 3 together bring this up to like a potentially really dangerously powerful card, but we'll see. So next up we got Arlen, the Moon's Fury, and then on the other side, Arlen, the Pack's Hope. I think we all knew she was going to be in there. Well, let's start with human version, I guess. So it's a 4-cost, of course, red-green mix, 4 loyalty planeswalker, and she is day-bound. Well, she's going to be flipping over so much, they should probably strap a generator to her or something to make her into a turbine. So +1 until your next turn, you may cast creature spells as though they had flash, and each creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it, which is insane. That turns every single creature you own into an ambusher. I mean, that's truly ridiculous. And then -3, create 2 wolves, 2/2s. I really don't like this. I don't like the, oh, now +1, it's not safe to swing, except now she's at 5, and then she's at 6, and then she's at 7. You really need to swing at her, but they're holding a bunch of cards, and they're going to flash in a Death Touch or some, 6/6 or something huge, because green. Yeah, I absolutely despise this card. So on the backside, Nightbound. She's still a Planeswalker and still able to use Planeswalker's abilities while in wolf form. I don't remember if she could do that last time. I feel like no. But +2, add 1 green and 1 red mana to your mana pool. And then 0 until end of turn. Arlen the Moon's Fury becomes a 5/5 werewolf creature with trample, indestructible, and haste. Well, that's mighty annoying. I hate everything about this card. All right, next up we got Howl of the Hunt. It's a 3-cost enchantment aura. Flash, enchant creature. Oh, there you go. If you're not keeping score, green is now the best at instant speed ambush spells, card drawing, life gain, biggest creatures, and pretty much everything else. They've pretty much eaten the entire color pie and spit it out right directly in your face. Now, what is the standard rotation going to do to that? I don't know. Probably drop a whole bunch of power cards from Ikoria and from Eldraine, but still. They have the best mana ramp, the best counter dump. They're just the best at everything right now. I guess they're second place now with life gain because of white life gain angels, which is absurd. But yeah, they pretty much gave him everything, and Colossal is still legal, at least on Arena, because it's in the A series. So that's a free card every single turn. So they're outdrawing you 2-1 when they already have bigger creatures than you, and now they can do bullshit like this. Yeah, not like in the direction green's going with this set, and we're only, what, 4 cards in? 2 cards in? So yeah, when Howl of the Hunt enters the battlefield, if enchanted creature is a wolf or werewolf, untap that creature. Oh, good, so it can even be tapped, you untap it, then permanently give it +2/+2 in vigilance. Otherwise, just do it to some 1/1 and then, haha, your creature's dead, and I've got a giant creature, which is a really dangerous combination. Well, at least it doesn't cost 2, but this being common, if you don't draft this card, you're out of your mind. This is an ambush boost. It might as well just be a kill spell, except it's persistent. So next up, Snarling Wolf. Oh boy, it's 1/1 wolf for 1, and if you pay 2, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Activate this only once each turn, otherwise green would have fire breathing, with defense tacked to it. So this is actually a pretty fair card. It's like a threat. People know it's there if you have the mana open, so then they let it through, but then you don't activate it because you have something better to do with the mana, and it's this big bluffing game. Or like you do block it, but then they boost it, but then you boost yours bigger. And, you know, I kind of like effects like this where it's sunk mana and they don't get anything out of it, but it also doesn't cost them a card, and it's also not that powerful. It's this nice little trade-off where it leans very heavily on player skill. Mostly in just like decision making. So next up, we got another wolf. Oh boy, Pestilent Wolf. It's a 2/2 for 2. And it looks like he's infected with Ligma. That's the super dangerous virus left over from the Eldrazi's spread that's sweeping the plane. Little lore leak for you there. So it's 2/2 for 2, and if you pay 3, it gains Death Touch till end of turn. I mean, okay, yeah, it's a vanilla 2/2 tribal, and then you paid quite a bit of mana, and for 1 turn only, you get Death Touch. But, you know, Death Touch is powerful, it can stop anything, so that's just another good card. I'm starting to think Wolves might actually be fair after that first one, which is a disaster. This one, Festival Crasher, I just love this artwork. That is the greatest thing I've seen today. So obviously he's going to crash the festival by lighting it on fire. And we all know that Westvale doesn't have a very good firefighting department because they put all their tax funds into their space program. No, I'll never stop making that joke. Try and stop me. So the flavor text is so many candles, so many flammables, so little time. Oh, I hate devils and goblins. So yeah, this is 1/3 for 2, which is kind of weird for red, but whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, then it gets +2/+0 till end of turn. Or as I like to call it, double prowess. Very, 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 very dangerous to do that when we already have some pseudo-is-it crap from Strixhaven. Because they're all about spell spamming. So, I mean, you could get this guy up to like 8 on like turn 4. You'll be out of cards, but you'll probably have won the game. That's why I don't like stupid gimmicky rush crap like this. So they should have made him like a 2/4 and then had him cost 3 just to slow him down a little bit. Next up, we got Angelic Enforcer. And then on the other side, I assume it's Enduring Angel. Because of how I'm looking at these spoilers, I don't actually know that for sure. Oh, the number's the same. Okay. I guess they're doing that then. They're both number 17. Okay, whatever. I mean, we all know they're 2 different cards. I mean, come on. Like when they say, oh, it's a 277 card set. Yeah, but there's like 300 cards in it because some of them have 2 sides. I'm sure somebody already said this, but I think I've solved it. I think the modal double face cards have different numbers because they're different cards, spells kind of. But the transform flip cards, they're the same permanent, the same creature, the same card. So they get the same numbers. I think the MDFCs don't. I don't know. I'm too lazy to check. Plus, who cares? So I guess I'll start with the front. It's a triple white, 5-cost total Enduring Angel. Holy cow. 3/3 flying double strike. Nice. You have hexproof. Love that. And if your life total would be reduced to 0 or less, instead transform Enduring Angel and your life total becomes 3. And then we get to the weird part. Then... And it's important that they put then to say that it's a continuation of the same trigger, because I think people are already misreading this. If Enduring Angel didn't transform this way, you lose the game. So it's not, oh, every single turn that this is out that you don't flip it, you lose the game, and it doesn't even have flash. No. That's why the word then is there. So basically, I'll just cut to it. If you flip it with an artificial means, you flip a card over with, hey, go transform a card or whatever, because there was ways to do that the last time we were in Innistrad, not to mention a couple other sets. If you flip this artificially, you lose the game. So don't do that. And the reason is because on the other side, Angelic Enforcer says flying, you have hexproof, and its power and toughness are each equal to your life total. So if you were to just flip that in Commander with a flippy card, it would be a 40-40, which in Commander is a mediocre card. But wait, whenever Angelic Enforcer attacks, double your life total. So this is the first doubling card, and I am not worried about this at all, because if you flip this over artificially, anytime that you're not at 0 and then effectively at 3, you lose the game. I actually love this card. Now the thing is though, I've further considered like all different scenarios, and let's say you're playing white life gain and you just hold a stack of revitalizes because, you know, they're running red rush and you're running, you know, white angel life gain. You got a couple life linkers or whatever. You purposely don't swing on them, don't block with them. You don't cast any of your revitalizes. You don't tap your little 1-cost dude that gives you 1 life, none of that. Which would shut off all of your life gain triggers, but let's say you did it because you have this angel out. So then they're like, well, okay, I guess I'll get you to 0 just so I can reset you to 3 and then hopefully kill you the next turn. This is not like Angelic Enforcer has lifelink. And then you grant Angelic Enforcer lifelink and you cast like 3 revitalizes, and then you tap your dude for this, and you swing with lifelink and you're back up to 15. Then all of a sudden you're hitting them for 15, and then every time you attack it goes to like 30, and I mean you could kill them in 1 shot. So just because they're like, okay, I guess I'll get this stupid angel out of the way, you could unload an absolute handful of life gain and then swing, double as soon as you attack, and then hit them for their entire life total in the air. So I actually kind of hate this. It's like you almost have to force your opponent to stop swinging at all, because they know that when it flips, you've got, you know, a couple cards in hand, you could probably kill them in 1 shot. But when it transforms, they could just, lightning bolt. Oh, wait, you can't. That's why they said on both sides you have hexproof. They can't target you, the player. They can't target your life total. So yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't love this. Next we got Unruly Mob. I think this is actually a reprint. It's a 2-cost 1/1. Oh yeah, it is. Whenever another creature you control dies, put a 1/1 counter on Unruly Mob. Back in Shadows and Eldritch, I tried to work this into my life gain deck, and it just was so much slower. It was like an insurance policy where you don't have to worry about it until you have to worry about it. Like, they're going to take out the bigger threats, the flyers, the angels, my, Gisela. But then, for every angel and every lifelinker you take out, you got this little vanilla boy here getting bigger. But it never worked, and it doesn't have life gain, and I couldn't easily give it lifelink. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's more of a draft and sealed card, and it's actually pretty good in that. But it starts off so small, and you have to be almost losing the game to have this be relevant. It's just not that good of a card, to be honest. Now, the flavor text on this one is very interesting, because remember, while we look at these cards, we're trying to figure out what the heck's going on in the lore. And everybody told me that the werewolves were reprogrammed by, I don't know, someone, and now they have to defend the realm against, vampires and zombies and all the other evil stuff. So I thought, this isn't werewolves versus, I'm going to keep saying it, the village people, and the werewolves trying to come in and ruin their fall festival harvest thing, / farmer's market / craft fair, because I'm from Wisconsin. That's just how these things always turn out. Around 11 o'clock, the police usually show up and start arresting drunk people, too. Speaking of that, Unruly Mob. But anyway, the flavor text says, we survived the travails, which I guess is going to be the whole Eldrazi thing. Kind of a neat name. I like that. Killer angels, horrors from beyond the moon. Now some big werewolves think they could scare us. Let them try. So the werewolves are now attacking the people. So did their brains get flipped back to attack humans mode? I think the person who reprogrammed them died the last time we were on this plane. I don't know. Professional lore monkey historians, please weigh in on this. So next up, we've got the Is It Guild. Oh, good. It's Galvanic Iteration. It's a 1 blue, 1 red instant. Oh, here we go. My least favorite combination of the last 5 years. Oh, wait, RTR was 2014. Last 7 years. Okay, just kidding. It's a clear second place compared to blue-white control. But anyway, when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy it, because why not copy all your spells? It's not like All Rune's bullshit extra turn thing is part of the game. You may choose new targets for the copy. Flashback 3. Yeah, we all saw Flashback coming. I hate spell cloning. I hate the Is It Guild. I hate all the copies of the Is It Guild. I hate this color combination. And honestly, not a fan of Flashback, so this is absolute trash. Next up, we've got Contortionist Troop, which, no, they're not. They're called Aerialists. The Contortionists do their stuff on the ground. Do they not have circuses in Seattle? I feel like they'd probably just find a way to cancel them with some woke shit. So this is a 0/0 creature human, and it's 1 green plus X, and then when it enters the camp of battle, it enters with X11 markers. It sounds way cooler if you translate it literally. And then it has Coven, which got leaked a long time ago. We thought it was maybe just a thing for the commander deck, but, well, here it is. At the beginning of your final step, I just realized that this is Portuguese and not Spanish. Yeah, the Batalho with the silent H probably should have given it away. But anyway, if you control 3 creatures with different power, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. So, I mean, this is like a Hydra, but more annoying, I guess. I don't know how this is an uncommon. This is a pretty good power card. I mean, if you compare it to the Ooze, that's a better card. You gotta kill it twice, and this is extremely unlikely to go off. But, I mean, it counts itself. You could drop it in and just automatically have the trigger going, I guess. I mean, if this is the biggest one especially, so that you don't get a collision when you go up by 1. Oh, I mean, or just put the counter on a different creature than itself. I just assumed this would be the big bad one that you're like, rawr, I want to make this even bigger. So interesting choice here. Pretty powerful card. Next up, we got Beloved Beggar with some amazing looking artwork. Holy cow. It looks like they might have rendered that in like the Unity engine. Some people are getting into that. I mean, they draw some of it, but then the lighting effects, instead of like, Lightroom, they just like, let's just jump into a 3D engine. 3D assisted artwork is pretty cool. So we got Beloved Beggar. It's a 0/4 for 2. Because as we all know, beggars are highly defensive and very hard to get past. And then we've got a mechanic called Disturb. You may cast this card from your graveyard transformed for its Disturb cost. Oh, so if it's dead and then you disturb the burial, they like get up out of there like, what y'all doing over there? Trying to rest here, man. Why you messing with my grave? Why you disturbing this, huh? But I guess even though you've disturbed his grave, he's on the other side a Generous Soul that helps you out. So it's a 4/4, Flying Vigilance, and if Generous Soul would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it. So I mean, Flying Vigilance 4/4, that is like no joke. And so you've got an 0/4 early to block, and then when something big enough, swings, like, 4 power, 5 power, 6 power, whatever, okay, he gets killed. Boom, as soon as he got 6, he got a 4/4 flyer. I absolutely love that. And I think it's appropriately costed. You might say, oh, well, 6 is really high for a 4/4, Flying Vigilance creature. But the whole point is it's just this nice little backup plan if you don't have something better in your hand. They've been implementing a lot of stuff in the last 3 or 4 sets that are anti-bad situation past turn 10 effects. I could probably name it something better. So it's like, I've got a board state, you've got a board state, I can swing with 1, but the rest can't because you got a Death Toucher, and I maybe got 1 flyer, and I got, it's like a life linker, and I gotta step it up here, and then you top deck a land. And you play it, and your hand is empty, even though you should hold it just to, psych out your opponent, just saying. Well, at least I can dump 6 into a 4/4. There you go, now you have an option. But you can't cast the 4/4 until your 0/4 was already played, and then already died. And they could still, with a couple effects, remove it from your graveyard. So it's like, yeah, it's a fair, good card that gets rid of the feels bad man scenarios. And Flashback arguably is one of those too, but usually they put it on the most obnoxious red and blue spells you can possibly get. So they completely dropped the ball on that one. I'm going to lose it if they have a Flashback counterspell. I don't even care if it costs 6. Nobody should get 2 uses out of a counterspell. That is just inherently mathematically flawed, and I bet you they put it in the set. It already looks dangerously pushed on the power level, and everybody was hoping that the, post-reset, post-rotation, we're going to get really mellow, chill sets, because that's what the D&D set was. Arguably, Strixhaven was supposed to be intended to be lower powered because a bunch of expensive, overpriced dragons and underpowered mechanics, and then, well, the Pest deck is tier 1. Because Aristocrats, of course it is. What the hell did they think would happen? Well, then actually, Goblin Rush is tier 1 right now, in the 2022 queue, not in Standard Constructed. But yeah, it doesn't look like they downed the power level for this at all. So this will be another, let's see, when did this set rotate out? 2024? Great. So anyway, next up we got the rare land cycle. It's Rockfall Vale and Friends. So it says it enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands. So it's the opposite of the double check lands, the early lands or whatever you want to call them. These are late lands. So early game, you get no assistance, no blitz, no nothing, which is good because blitz decks, rush decks are toxic to deck building. Everybody has to play around it, and if it gets bad enough, there's no mid-range, and there's no slow decks, and it's just everybody's speed, and then whoever goes first wins, and it just devolves into absolute bullshit. So these are the exact opposite. You only get the benefit after at least turn 3, or during turn 3, I should say. I love everything about that, and it's about time they invented these. And in case I didn't make it clear, these have never been printed before. I could see these being wanted in Commander, maybe. I mean, you can't directly fetch them, but, you get so like up in the land count so quick, although there are also mana rocks, that I think people would be like, yeah, the majority of the time if I throw one of these in, I'll get it untapped. So then it's effectively a dual land, so hey, let's go. I still don't think these are going to cross like $7 or $8 once things settle down. So like a month after release, I don't think these will be $20 lands. So next up we've got Jadar, Ghoul Caller of Nephalia. So it's a 1/1 for 2 legendary creature, human wizard, and at the beginning of your end step, if you control no creatures with Decayed, ooh, I hope that's not a worse version of Undying and Persist, which is what people thought. Create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Oh, with Decayed, and then we get to find out what it is right here. Okay. It can't block, and when it attacks, sacrifice it at the end of combat. So it can't block because it's not sturdy enough or fast enough, and then it attacks once and just drops dead. I absolutely love that. I don't know why I'd absolutely love borderline useless tokens, but it's just funny to me. I think the joke here is that he's only a 2-cost 1/1, so he's not that good, like that talented of a necromancer. So he brings back really, really shitty weak zombies that die after they swing at you once. They just punch you in the face and then back to Weekend at Bernie's. So next up, we got another flippy boy. It's Tovalar Dire Overlord. Oh boy, he's a legendary creature, human werewolf. I wonder if he'll flip into a werewolf. What do you think, guys? So this is the daybound side. I can't wait to see if he's a werewolf on the other side. He's technically a werewolf on this side, as much as that makes sense. So it's a 3/3, and whenever a wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Ooh, that's a little spicy. Free card draw in primarily green. That's what we needed more of in the game. Thanks. That wasn't a giant mistake for the last year and a half. Colossal is still legal on Arena, to reiterate, so they are now in a werewolf deck going to outdraw you 3-1. I'm sure that'll work out. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more wolves and or werewolves, it becomes night. Then transform any number of human werewolves you control. I assume they're all almost marked, universally daybound and nightbound, but not from the last set. So if you want to build like a commander deck, it'll also flip them into werewolves too. And so, Nighty Boy, oh look, he's a werewolf, who would have thought? It's a 4/4, Tovalar the Midnight Scourge, and whenever a wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Yeah, we get that. Then if you pay X plus 1 red plus 1 green, target wolf or werewolf gets plus X plus O and gains trample until end of turn, and then nightbound. Holy crap, that's annoying. So here's where they made the mistake. They said at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more wolves, flip it to night. So during your entire turn, if you have any reasonable amount of wolves in a wolf deck, it is always going to be night. So you're always going to have him on his more powerful side, and you're always going to have access to that ridiculously overpowered ability. And then trample plus hit and get a card is pretty OP. So this is all coming together to be like, wow, the werewolves are going to be the dominant deck. Well, it's called Midnight Hunt. What the hell did you expect? But yeah, I think it goes too far in the context of, well, the fact that I've been playing the 2022 pre-rotated queue for like, weeks now. And everything I'm seeing so far goes way too far as the power level of anything I'm playing or anybody else is playing. So they're probably going to have to ban a werewolf, and it's probably going to have to be Tovalar. So yeah, this set looks pretty awful so far. Next up, we got Sigarda, Champion of Light, with her famous double white, single green, plus 1 generic. Oh boy, 4/4 legendary creature angel. She's one of the few famous legendary angels that actually survived the last set, or the what'd they call it, the Travail or something like that. I don't remember what they named it. But flying and trample. Okay, humans you control get +1/+1 because Sigarda is always on the human side. Yeehaw. Well, Princess, you better get out your little hacking laptop and hack all the werewolves' brains again because somebody done messed up. So anyway, she has Coven, I guess, which is that's literally the name of a group of witches, so I don't know how that fits Angel, but okay. When Sigarda attacks, if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a human a creature card from among them and put it in your hand. Nice. And put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. So just, feeds you cards, but conditionally. So if you already have a high variety of a large number of creatures in play, then go get more creatures. I almost wish it was like the opposite. If you don't have 3 or more creatures in play, period, who cares about their powers, then go get another creature. I mean, wouldn't that make a little bit more sense? But okay. Push the advantage, as they say. So this is a story spotlight card, which heavily indicates that Sigarda will be important to the, saving the humans, which, duh. Next up, oh, this is wild. I thought they actually throw in like an unset, but no, this is just, they just put this over the thing because they wanted to spoil the card, but they didn't want to spoil the story, I guess, the lore. Because instead of them paywalling the lore by selling you a crappily written book that doesn't even have consistency with the actual story on the cards, I mean, is the stupid cat beast dead or is it alive? Like, make up your mind. But no, they're going back to putting up the chapters for free online the way everybody wanted them to. Because if you're going to ruin the game with overpowered crap, you might as well have people still interested in the lore. I mean, you might as well get something. So yeah, they covered up the flavor text to say, you know, read the web fiction to find out more. Now, web fiction just sounds like the worst term they could ever possibly give it. It sounds like it was written by some 12-year-old in their basement. I mean, it's one word away from fan fiction. And then web fiction sounds like it's even less credible. Here, let me fix it for you, wizards. Read the official storyline and the official lore on story.wizards.com to find out more, or whatever. See, doesn't that sound more professional? Like, ooh, who wrote this? Hopefully not the same person who wrote the story. So anyway, Teferi shows up because, oh, I don't know, just f*** everything and f*** the community, f*** the fans, f*** everybody who hates Teferi, and just everything's f***. Why not? Teferi. Just, we needed more Teferi in my life. F*** you, Teferi. You know how before I suspected that this is going to be an obnoxiously overpowered pushed set that's going to annoy people and set the tone for standard for the next year and a half? Now I'm 100% sure of it. Now that Teferi's here, I am 100% sure that this set is going to be a trash pile. So anyway, Investigate is back. If this spell was cast from a graveyard, investigate twice instead. Oh goody! So to investigate, create a colorless clue artifact token with sack it and draw a card. Because that's what we want to hand to blue, and then flashback 4. Great. Now remember, we have all kinds of crazy shit that could like tap treasures but not use them, and like all this artificer stuff from the last couple sets. Yeah, and now we get clues this easily for 1 mana. Think we're gonna see some artifact synergy crap. We're gonna see the staff of, I don't know, blue whatever the hell city, Baldur's Gate, I don't remember. Yeah, that bitch gonna start launching clues at your face. I called it, trust me. So anyway, it's called Secrets of the Key to Fairy's Hair. There's a mystery sphere. They ripped off Skyrim. Nobody wants Teferi. I honestly don't give a shit. I could overanalyze the lore, but I want Teferi off the screen as quickly as possible. So let's move on to Brutal Cathar. So cathartic to get Teferi off the screen. So 3 cost 2/2 human soldier werewolf, and when this creature enters the battlefield or transforms into Brutal Cathar, wait, that's what the name is on this side. So they mean when it flips back? Whatever. Exile target creature an opponent controls until this creature leaves the battlefield. And then, oh, daybound. Oh my god. So it's gonna flip once or twice a turn, right? Like, we're on the same page here. So every single time he flips back to this side, he exiles another creature. This guy is gonna eat your entire line of creatures. Holy shit, this is ridiculous. So it appears that on the other side is Moonrage Brute, which for some reason has a red color identity. Okay, I guess you can't have a white werewolf. It's a 3/3, first strike, and ward, pay 3 life, so ward is back. Good, I kind of like it. And Nightbound, obviously. So real simple. I mean, he gets bigger, and then he flips back and ruins your day. That'll be a pretty annoying card. Next up, we've got Tavern Ruffian. He's a human warrior werewolf. He's 2/5 for 4, daybound. Real simple. Also, it's a she, apparently, according to the flavor text. I'll take your word for it. And then on the other side, it's Tavern Smasher. Nightbound 6/5. There you go. And with every arm in sight broken, she turned her attention to the furniture. Okay, that I like. So it's effectively a 6/5 for 4, and all you need to do to get the 6/5 side is to have your opponent not cast any spells during their turn. Like if they're desperately top decking and pull a land. Yeah, not really a fan of this day-night crap. Just think about it. You won't even be able to play with sleeves. Okay, because every single one of these stupid cards is like, well, on their turn it flipped, on your turn it flipped back, on their turn it flipped, on your turn it flipped back. You're gonna have to take like your whole line of werewolves out of the sleeves, flip them over, put them back in the sleeve. You're gonna damage the card to the point where you might as well not even play with sleeves. This entire set is basically digital only. There is no functional way to reasonably play this at a reasonable speed without a reasonable amount of hassle in paper. But let me just uncover the little scam that they're running here. Since they also announced that they're not doing like flip replacement cards, or like, what do they call those? Like the proxy cards or whatever. I believe they were originally called checklist cards. They're not doing those anymore. They just want you to buy 8 copies of every card. Because then you could just, you know, swap it out. You could just be like, well, I'm not taking it out of the sleeve and flipping it every damn time. Here, I'll pull it from play, drop in the other side. Because what people used to do is they would have a sleeved checklist card, and then the second that the checklist card comes in, they'd just like toss it, whatever, move it somewhere, move it out of play, and then have a clear sleeve so that you could just literally flip the card over. Well, you can't have clear sleeves in your actual library because, I don't know if you know this, your opponent would see them. Some would have the normal magic back, some would have a werewolf on the back. So people would run the checklist cards, and then they would run, a bunch of clear sleeves, which would sell out at every store ever. And that was the obnoxious but doable way that people would flip them last time. Now this time they said they're not doing checklist cards. So what are you going to do? Well, you're going to have a fully opaque sleeved version of it on one side and a fully opaque sleeved version of it on the other side. So if you're running 4 of, you actually need, realistically, in case you get 4 out, you need 4 more. Now, people might just, have 5. But then what if you need to represent flipping 2? I guess then you would just reach in the sleeve and flip it. But then, oops, I accidentally shuffled it into my deck with the wrong side showing. Which is why all the flip side ones you would put in a different color sleeve so that you didn't accidentally do that. But if you decided to flip it in the sleeve, then you have to say, sorry guys, I accidentally forgot, and then you take it out of the sleeve, show your opponent that that's the card you have in hand, oops, flip it around to the side it's actually supposed to be, and then put it back in the sleeve, and now they know you have that card. And then also probably get game loss if you're at a tournament. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick overview of what absolute fresh hell it's going to be to have these things flipping over and over and over and over and over and over and over in paper, because it just doesn't work. This is the stupidest thing they could have ever possibly done. So moving on to some more flippy bullshit, we've got Bait Hook Angler. It's a 2/1 for 2, Human Peasant, Disturb 2. Some more useless generic cannon fodder until you can finally get it killed and bring it back for an overpriced ability. Although, well, 2 this time. And then it becomes Hook Hunt Drifter, a even weaker 1/2 spirit with flying. Wow. And if it would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it so you don't get to do this twice. This thing is pathetic, it's filler, it's jank, it's not even good for a draft, and stay away from this card, it's trash. So next up, Candlelit Cavalry. It's a 5-cost 5/5 Human Knight with Coven at the beginning of combat on your turn. If you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, which is going to be obnoxious to try to get to work, Candlelit Cavalry gains Trample until end of turn. Oh boy. So it goes from vanilla to slightly better than vanilla. I assume this is in a human tribal deck. Except, here's something to bring up. The humans are green and the werewolves are green. So both of the tribals are green. Usually when you're on a plane with a conflict between 2 groups, the 2 groups are different colors. So that everybody doesn't just play green or draft green or build, well, I guess everybody could build green out of their sealed pool. That doesn't really matter. How many ways have they completely and utterly f***ed this set so far? 4 or 5? Wow, this is going to be a dumpster fire. So anyway, next up we got Candle Trap. Oh boy. A 1-cost white pin down, I assume, based on the artwork, but let's actually read it. Enchant creature. Enchant creature has Defender. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt by enchanted creature. So it can block, but it can't kill anything. Okay. It's a nice trade-off for 1. And then Coven. Pay 3 and sacrifice Candle Trap, exile enchanted creature, but activate only if you, the owner of this permanent, controls 3 or more creatures with different powers. That's a pretty damn good card, and it's in the common slot, so draft is going to be a very, very hit-or-miss disaster. So draft is broken, paper is broken, day-night is pretty broken because it feeds into if your opponent is losing or top-decking or can't get a spell off, then you win. Werewolf Tribal is too powerful. I'm sure I missed one. There's more than a couple flaws in this. So next up we got Might of the Old Ways. Sounds like a reprint, but there's actually a really similar card with a really similar name. It's a 2-cost green instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 till end of turn, and then Coven. It just says then if you could. I don't think you could write it that way, but I get what they're going for. Then if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, draw a card. You can't interrupt something that's already going on with a keyword /second ability and then just put the word then on there, but they did it, so okay. Alright, so this is a boost spell with a Coven ability or whatever. Next up we got Arrogant Outlaw, because we had to throw vampires in too. So it's a 3/2 for 3, Vampire Noble. When Arrogant Outlaw enters the battlefield, if an opponent lost life this turn, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life, because the pest deck wasn't annoying enough. Next up, Dawnheart Rejuvenator. Oh boy, throw leaves at it. That'll solve the problem. I don't know, when leaves get going, dry leaves get blown at 20 miles an hour, they can actually cut your skin pretty good. I know, because I've had that happen. Speaking of that, they better print Whirlwind or whatever in this set. I need in green to nuke flyers. I mean, kill every single flyer in play. 1 green, X, damage to flyers, let's go. We need that. We need that in the game right now. Although it would just serve to make werewolves absolutely unbeatable, so I mean, you know, but they're the problem. I need to blow up flying shit more efficiently in green. I mean, Angels and Dragons is all people play. Anyway, this is a 2/4, and when it enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life, and then you can tap it and add 1 mana of any color. Little bit late for a mana dork, considering it costs 4, and then it's more life gain for green for some reason. So this card is an ill-conceived nightmare. It just feeds into this color pie breaking crap. I mean, yeah, it's not like green never gains life, but it almost has more life gain than white. I mean, come on. Next up, Brimstone Vandal. Fine quality image here. They obviously flushed it down their toilet and then took a picture with their old 1 megapixel Nokia. So as is tradition, I'm going to shout out the person who was responsible for spoiling this card. Wizards themselves on their own YouTube channel. Fantastic. So it's a 3-cost 2/3 devil with menace, and if it's neither day nor night, which I guess, it becomes day as Brimstone Vandal enters the battlefield, so, okay. Then whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Oh, here we go. It's already painfully easy to flip it. Now you're going to get penalized for it. Interesting. By the way, so we've got humans at green, devils at red, and werewolves at red-green. And then we've got a bunch of filler jank bullshit that kind of supplements other sets in white and black, and I don't know what the hell's going on in blue. Basically nothing. Teferi clues and really, really, really weak, shitty humans. I'm starting to think humans are just 5 color, because they usually are. I'm not even sure which one is less balanced, to be perfectly honest. Well, the colors are absolutely f***ed in this set. So next up, we got Blurry Boy Storm Rider Spirit. It's a 5-cost 3/3 with flash and flying, meaning it's unplayable jank garbage. I guess they just don't want people playing blue in this set. Yes, I'm basing it off of the first 20 cards out of 277. When I see a trend, I see a trend. So next up, we got Famished Foragers, because the vampires are now getting in on the color red. Are you actually kidding us? Is this an early April Fool's Day joke? Wizards be pranking us hard. This is going to be the worst set to draft in the history of the entire game, because everybody's going to grab red-green. No matter what they're playing, they're going to grab red-green. It's the 3 major factions out of 4. Hell, it looks like 4 if you include the humans. Werewolf, devil, vampire, humans. They all share red and green, like together collectively sort of almost. Who the hell in the right mind would draft blue, but then somebody's going to get stuck with blue cards, which means you're probably not even going to be able to build a 40-card deck. So anyway, 4/3 for 4, when Famished Foragers enter the battlefield, if an opponent lost life this turn, add, oh my god, I just realized, okay, I'll tell you after this card, I just realized what's going on. Add 3 red mana to your mana pool, and then if you pay 3, discard a card, draw a card. Great. It's vampire, everybody hates him, who cares? Okay, remember when they announced that they're going to do a double feature where you draft both of them together? You see where I'm going with this? This started as 1 set, they split it into 2 sets for no apparent reason, and then they're like, oh shit, this is going to be the worst draft environment ever because this entire first set is just red-green, because I'm sure the other set is going to be the other colors. Although, you know, are vampires typically blue-aligned? I think they just forgot the color blue in both of these, to be perfectly honest, but okay. But yeah, they just thought, oh shit, we better put these together for draft. So I don't think this set, Midnight Hunt, is even intended to be drafted, because they realized how absolutely the color balances, and then they're like, oh shit, let's just throw them back together the way we initially designed it and see if we could have some semblance of a draft environment come out of this. Well, there's your conspiracy theory for the day. So next up, we've got defenestrate, which I think is actually the word for throw somebody out of a window. I think I remember hearing that in some stupid trivia thing. So it is a black instant 3-cost, destroy target creature without flying. Or as I like to call it, a shittier version of murder, although I think murder's double black. Still a shittier version of murder. So next up, Chandra's hair, light up the night. Okay, we've now got a 1% chance that she shows up and just on the spot incinerates Teferi, and we never have to deal with this bullshit ever again in the entire rest of the set. A guy can hope, okay? So light up the night, it's a rare red sorcery with X in the cost, so we about to get spicy plus Chandra's on it. Oh yes. So it's 1 red plus X, and Light Up the Night deals X damage to any target. It deals X plus 1 damage instead if that target is a creature or planeswalker. Oh, she kills Teferi, confirmed. I kid you not, I did not read the card ahead of time. I just made that up because I thought it was funny because I hate Teferi. So she gets a +1 bonus to damage if she kills Teferi. I like that. Then it has Flashback 4, and it's pretty clear that they ran out of room on the card. So I'm going to read this the way that the Oracle text is supposed to have been written. So Flashback 4, and then as an optional additional casting cost to the spell, or something like that. I'm sure I don't have the exact phrasing. Remove X loyalty counters from among planeswalkers you control. If it was cast this way, then X can't be 0. So this is the stupidest, most confusing, obnoxiously, needlessly weird-ass flashback cost, because the flashback cost doesn't have X in it. So, like, what were they thinking? So you pay 4, and it does 0 damage to a creature or 1 damage to a planeswalker. But then if you feed at least 1 loyalty counter into it to represent X, because you can't pay it with mana, then X can't be 0. But yes, if you fed in at least 1 loyalty counter, then X can't be 0. So why did they have to say that? Now you might be about to say, no, you could say I'm removing X loyalty counters, but X equals 0 from among planeswalkers I control. Ha ha ha, now I get this ability. But then X would still be 0, and X is 0 if you just pay mana for it. So that still is nothing. So they didn't need to put that part on the card. Who designed this? Have they ever played Magic before? Do they know how math works? So, próximo tenemos Suturador de Bonecos. This time I checked. It's Portuguese, so I better just go get the actual translation. Okay, it's Doll Stitcher, a human wizard, even though that's clearly the word mage. And he's blue and costs 3, and then whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. Oh, that's right, black-blue gets shitty zombies that you can only use once. So let me just double down on saying everybody is going to draft and play green-red. I bet there's some cards to prop up these stupid zombies or to give them death triggers or something. Or like every time a decayed creature you control dies, each opponent takes like 3 damage or something, just because they probably realize at some point that mechanic is complete shit. And versing werewolves, you're going to get your ass kicked, so they probably propped it up with something absolutely batshit crazy. In fact, it's probably on the other side of this card. Let's take a look. So on the other side, they're claiming the translation is Toy Factory, but then on the other side, it's the same word, bonecos, and in that case, it's dolls. Hermanos Portuguese, which one is it? What is a boneco? So doll fabrication place, if you're going to get literal, it's an artifact, and it says creature tokens you control lose all abilities and have base power and toughness 3/3. Okay. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you may transform Toy Factory. I think I missed something. How the hell do you flip this? Hold on. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more creature tokens, you may transform Doll Stitcher. So it's up to you. You control 3 or more zombie tokens, let's be honest, and then you can flip it, and then they all become 3/3s. But then at the beginning of your upkeep, you may just simply flip it back and then build more, but then they get downgraded to 2/2s. I actually like that. That's, for a mythic, that's pretty tame, but also pretty powerful. It's like slow powerful, which gives your opponent, enough time to breathe. What a concept. A power mythic that's unbelievably good, that brings out unlimited tokens, but at a reasonable speed that gives your opponent actual time to respawn. Holy shit, they did it. They actually printed a fair mythic for once. Holy f***, it's a miracle. Too bad your little factory's gonna get absolutely shredded by werewolves. Oh, good. While I was recording this, we got another card. Yay. So it's Village Watch. Come on, just call it the Village People. Come on. If you're gonna ruin the set, at least make jokes about it. Jeez. So it's a 4/3 for 4 human werewolf, haste, daybound. Duh. And then on the backside, it's Village Reavers. Wolves and werewolves you control have haste, nightbound, 5/4. So keep in mind, to flip it off of night, for your opponent to downgrade all of your werewolves, they have to cast 2 spells during their turn. And if they can't, it keeps being night. And then all you have to do to flip it back to night is nothing. And all of the werewolves are more powerful at night, and they're already the most powerful thing in this set by far. Do you see a balancing problem here? Really, the only weakness to the werewolves is you damaging the card by taking them out and flipping them over so damn often. That's the only weakness that the werewolf cards have. The most damage these werewolves are ever going to see is from your fingers in real life while playing the game. So werewolves are OP, day-night is shit, and I haven't seen one thing I like in this set except for the lands. This is unbelievable. And then on top of it, they made white angels even better. With the mother of all Counter-Strike angels that could just kill you in one turn because you had the audacity to try to win the game. Wow, this set is a dumpster fire full of flaming garbage. Anybody who says otherwise is just too clueless to assess cards. I've been in the game way too long and I've built way too many decks to not see this set for what it is, and it is trash. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to keep covering the spoilers because, you can't look away from a train wreck. Like I said, get the popcorn, guys, because holy shit, is this going to go down in history as the new winner for Worse Than Eldraine. In my opinion, just the sheer obnoxious level of Ikoria will never be topped because Mutate was the worst thing I have ever seen. Yeah, Companion was ill-conceived, but at least they fixed it. At least Companion didn't, kill my creatures just because they mutated over and over and over and over and over. Or free cast the next 6 cards in their deck because they mutated over and over and over and over. Although Flying Flicker Boy, that one's a real treat still. So I think the fact that they tried to split this into 2 sets was responsible for how absolutely this is. But these cards that are just too powerful in a vacuum, there's no excuse for that. Whether you split it or not, the cards are broken. So yeah, I mean, this just looks absolutely terrible. It really does. What more is there to say? If you think otherwise, you're wrong. I mean, just, you'll see it's only going to get worse as we move on here. And we only have 54 cards out of 277 and the set's already ruined. So, oh, and we've seen 3 mythics out of 15 so far. 3. And the set's already overpowered compared to anything that came before it. I'm not even joking. The 54 cards that we've seen so far, only 3 of which are mythic and almost none of which are rare, will blow away anything that's in the 2022 queue. I know, I've been playing it for at least 6 weeks. So if you don't want to miss the rest of the dumpster fire, hit subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.